In this quiet hour, as the world slows and the lights dim, we open our hearts to heaven's embrace. Let every worry, fear, and burden of the day dissolve as we invite Saint Anthony of Padua into this sacred moment. He, the miracle worker, the comforter of the distressed, walks with us now in the silence of the night. Tonight, this is more than a prayer. It's a divine meeting. And you, beloved soul, were meant to be here. Feel the gentle presence of the Holy Spirit weaving through every breath, calming your thoughts, softening your spirit. Saint Anthony is near, interceding on your behalf, listening to your silent cries, and holding your hand through the darkness. As you prepare for rest, know this: what you are about to hear has the power to change everything. Do not rush. Do not click away. Stay until the end, because tonight God is closer than ever. Saint Anthony of Padua, faithful servant of the Most High, tonight we come before you with hearts heavy and souls in search of peace. We are tired, worn by the battles of the day, and some of us are standing on the edge of despair. But in this moment, we call your name, not as a whisper, but as a cry for help. You who are known to answer the most desperate cases, come now into our homes, into our sleep, into our lives. Bring with you the light that dispels darkness, the peace that surpasses understanding, and the miracles that no man can explain. If you've ever answered a prayer, Saint Anthony, answer this one tonight. We ask you to intercede for all who are here, especially those battling worry, loneliness, fear, and financial despair. We lift up those who can't sleep, whose hearts are broken, whose minds are flooded with anxiety. You, Saint Anthony, who has helped countless souls find what was lost, bring restoration tonight, bring healing where there is sickness, provision where there is lack, and family unity where there is division. For nothing is impossible for those who believe, and we believe even now, even in the silence. Let your powerful intercession unlock the doors that have long been shut. To everyone listening, do not scroll away. This prayer carries a blessing that may be the answer you've been waiting for. There is a reason you pressed play. There is a reason you're still here. If you leave now, you might miss the very word meant to lift your burden and open your path. Stay with us. Saint Anthony is listening, and God is already moving. The night when heaven touches earth. There are nights when the soul feels heavier than usual, when the silence around us only amplifies the noise within. And in those moments, it's easy to believe we're alone. But what if I told you that tonight is different? That Saint Anthony of Padua is already present, walking into your room, standing by your side. Not in imagination, but in divine truth. Because this is the night when heaven leans close to earth. As you lay down, heart weary and mind spinning, there's a sacred invitation waiting. It's not in a loud voice or a dramatic sign. It's in the stillness, in the breath you almost forgot to take, in the quiet whisper saying, "I'm here." Saint Anthony hears even the prayers you never spoke aloud. He knows what you lost, what you're afraid to admit you need, and tonight he comes with a mission. Heaven doesn't sleep, and neither does divine mercy. When we turn off the lights and feel vulnerable, that's when miracles move the fastest, because it's in weakness that God's strength shows up, and Saint Anthony is his willing instrument. This isn't just a prayer for sleep, it's a miracle prayer tonight. A powerful Catholic miracle prayer designed for the broken, the tired, the forgotten. Have you ever felt like your prayers go unanswered? Like you're repeating words that just echo into space? You're not alone. But Saint Anthony is not only the patron of lost things, he is the restorer of lost hope. And that, dear friend, is sometimes more powerful than anything we could ask for. When hope rises, so does everything else. Faith, strength, and clarity. You might be lying in bed right now with thoughts of unpaid bills, medical results, or shattered dreams. But here's something counterintuitive. The moment you let go is the moment help rushes in. Saint Anthony doesn't need you to pretend you're strong. He needs you to be real, to say, "I need help now." That's where miracles begin. Close your eyes even for a second and breathe deeply. Can you feel the shift, the calming of the storm inside you? That's not just emotion, it's intercession at work. This is not theory. This is the result of thousands who've prayed this unfailing prayer to Saint Anthony and seen their lives turn around. Some overnight. God doesn't delay, he prepares. Do you remember the last time you felt completely at peace? If not, tonight may be the first time in a long while. Because this isn't just a prayer for desperate cases. It's an encounter, a meeting between your weariness and God's abundance. Saint Anthony is placing a hand over your heart now, not symbolically, spiritually, deeply, miraculously. And just as he helped countless people find lost keys, wallets, jobs, and even family members, he can help you find your way back to yourself, to your purpose, to peace. This miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony isn't just tradition, it's testimony. And those who pray it before bed have stories of waking up changed, lighter, rested, renewed. So here's what you do. Before sleep, whisper this prayer, not with your lips, but with your soul. Let the words soak into your being like warm light into a cold room. This is your emergency prayer for financial help, for healing, for restoration of your family. Don't complicate it, just believe. Faith doesn't need perfection, it needs surrender. The most powerful prayer to Saint Anthony works not because of magic, but because of mercy. Divine mercy, the kind that shows up when logic fails, when doctors give up, when debts pile up. That's when the impossible prayer that works finally kicks in. And guess what? It's already begun, because you're listening. Now hold on to this thought. What if tonight was the beginning of everything changing? What if Saint Anthony is here not just to comfort, but to unlock doors, to show you that even in the quietest night, God is writing a miracle into your story? Stay with me, because what comes next might be the breakthrough you didn't know you needed. The prayer that embraces you while you sleep. There is a sacred moment when the world quiets and your soul starts to whisper. And it's in that very moment, between your last anxious thought and the surrender to sleep, that Saint Anthony of Padua draws near. Not to judge, but to wrap you in peace. This prayer to Saint Anthony isn't just spoken, it's felt. Deep in your chest, like the warmth of a childhood memory that still makes you smile. When people talk about powerful prayers, they often imagine dramatic events. But the most powerful prayer to Saint Anthony can happen in silence. It flows into your life like the softest light at dawn, gentle but unstoppable. And the beauty is this: you don't need to do anything perfectly. You just need to be here, listening, resting, trusting that something holy is unfolding. Many people who prayed this very prayer said they hadn't felt peace in years. One woman said her sleep was haunted by worry until she heard this exact message. Another man had just lost his job and was facing eviction, but in his desperation, he spoke this urgent miracle prayer to Saint Anthony before bed. The next day, a friend called with unexpected help. Coincidence or divine orchestration? The truth is, when we invite Saint Anthony into our pain, things begin to shift. You may not hear trumpets or see visions, but you will feel a change, a lifting, a knowing that you're not alone, that your cries are being answered even if not yet revealed. This is the beauty of the miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony. It works gently, like dew on a dry heart. You might be thinking, but I've tried everything. I get it. But let's try something radical tonight. Rest. Not giving up, but letting go. That's the difference. Trusting that your act of listening, of showing up to this moment, is already triggering heaven's response. This is not just a Catholic prayer for miracles, it's your lifeline tonight. As you close your eyes, let this prayer do what medicine, money, or advice couldn't. Ask Saint Anthony, show me what I've lost, not just things but pieces of myself. Maybe it's peace, maybe joy, maybe a sense of purpose. This prayer to Saint Anthony for family restoration, for sleep, for emotional healing, it holds more power than you know. You're not here by chance. You were led here. By faith, by fatigue, maybe by a whisper from your spirit that said, press play. This is how miracles begin, not with thunder, but with trust. And as Saint Anthony intercedes for your most impossible request, know that God is never late. He's always on time, even if his clock doesn't look like yours. Let's go deeper. Ask yourself, what are you holding on to that you need to release tonight? Fear of not having enough, regret from past decisions, loneliness that won't go away. Saint Anthony invites you to release it all, not into the void, but into sacred hands. This is not the end. It's the beginning of breakthrough. There are testimonies pouring in from people who found what they lost. Homes, jobs, peace, even lost family members, after praying this unfailing prayer to Saint Anthony. Why? Because they believed just long enough for grace to find them, not because they were perfect, but because they were willing to surrender, just like you're doing now. And what about financial worries? So many lie awake at night wondering how they'll survive. If that's you, speak this prayer to Saint Anthony for financial breakthrough. Ask with boldness, believe with childlike faith, and watch how quickly heaven responds. There's no shame in needing help, only wisdom in knowing where to ask. In fact, one of the most touching miracles came from a single mother who was down to her last few dollars. She said this emergency prayer for financial help through tears. That week, someone paid her rent anonymously. That's what Saint Anthony does. He meets the faithful in the fire and pulls them out every single time. So as you begin to drift into sleep, don't rush this moment. Let your spirit linger here in this divine warmth. You are being covered, watched over, held. Saint Anthony is praying for you right now, and the same God who brought you to this video is the one who will carry you through the night. Just wait, because what comes next might just be the miracle you've waited your whole life for. The faith that awakens. Miracles. Faith isn't just believing that God can. It's trusting that He will, even when everything screams otherwise. And tonight, Saint Anthony stands before the throne of heaven on your behalf, whispering your name into God's ear. This isn't fantasy. It's the invisible power of intercession. When you can't find the words, Saint Anthony speaks them for you. When you feel like giving up, he reminds heaven of your tears. And that's when miracles begin to unfold. You might not see it yet, but the moment you chose to stay with this prayer, something shifted. Because this is not just a prayer to Saint Anthony, it's a divine transaction. One where pain is exchanged for peace, fear for strength, and desperation for hope. It's the kind of prayer that works instantly, not always in what you see, but in what you feel. A calmness that makes no sense. A hope that wasn't there before. This is why the saints matter. Not because they replace God, but because they point us back to Him with clarity and power. Saint Anthony, known for helping people find lost items, also helps souls find their way back to divine purpose. Maybe what you lost wasn't a thing. It was your confidence, your health, your will to keep going. But don't worry, because this powerful Catholic miracle prayer has found you, and that's no accident. I've heard testimonies that would make your heart tremble, of marriages restored, addictions broken, and impossible debts cleared, all after praying this same miraculous prayer to Saint Anthony. Why? Because Saint Anthony listens, and more importantly, he responds. The faithful have always known, when you need urgent help, he comes through, again and again. And if your faith feels weak tonight, you're in the perfect place. God never needed perfect people. He moves through the willing. So if all you can do is whisper, "Help me," that's enough. Because this unfailing prayer to Saint Anthony doesn't depend on the size of your belief, but on the size of God's mercy, and that has no limit. You may feel like your situation is too far gone, too damaged, too complex, but Saint Anthony specializes in the too late. He steps in when the doors have closed and everyone has given up. That's when faith becomes real. That's when the impossible prayer that works comes to life, because miracles don't come to those who have it all together. They come to the surrendered. A woman once lost her home, her husband, and her joy. She said this prayer night after night, holding on to one thread, faith, and slowly doors opened. She found a job. Her children were protected. Her heart softened again. This wasn't coincidence. It was the fruit of the prayer for desperate cases, spoken with trembling lips, but unwavering trust. You may wonder if God still sees you. Let me assure you, he does. And Saint Anthony is the proof. He never ignores a heart that cries in faith. And tonight, your cry is loud in heaven. Don't underestimate what can happen when one soul chooses to believe, even in the dark, even when nothing makes sense, especially then. It's okay to doubt, but stay anyway. Keep praying anyway. Because what if the breakthrough is one moment away? What if all heaven is watching this moment, waiting for you to release control so God can take over? This is the sacred power of intercession. It builds a bridge from your brokenness to God's abundance. If you are here seeking healing, you've found the right prayer. Saint Anthony has interceded for countless healing miracles, emotional, physical, spiritual. Whether it's sleeplessness, chronic illness, or deep soul wounds, this healing prayer to Saint Anthony carries divine weight. It's more than words. It's medicine from heaven. Financial stress? You're not alone. This prayer to Saint Anthony for financial breakthrough is for you. Speak it boldly. Believe recklessly. Imagine waking up tomorrow with an answer you didn't see coming. A bill paid, a door opened, a debt forgiven. It has happened before. It can happen again, and it may happen for you. Saint Anthony's power is not in the past, it's in the present. Tonight, as you sleep, let this intercession continue working in the spirit realm. You may not see anything with your eyes, but your heart will feel the shift. That's how God moves. Gently, yet undeniably, and Saint Anthony is his faithful servant in your hour of need. So don't end this prayer early. Something is unfolding. something holy, something miraculous, and you're at the center of it. Stay with me, because what comes next will take this prayer even deeper, into the part of your heart that still wonders, can God really do it for me? The surrender that sets you free. There comes a moment in every believer's life when praying for something turns into praying through something. It's the shift from asking to surrendering. And this, my dear friend, is where the miracle begins. Because true power isn't found in control, it's found in letting go. Saint Anthony teaches us that surrender is not giving up. It's giving over, handing our burdens to the only one who can truly carry them. When you hold too tightly, your hands are too full to receive. But when you surrender, even your pain becomes a prayer. It says to heaven, I can't fix this, but I know you can. Tonight, you are not just laying your body to rest, you're laying your soul at the feet of a God who never sleeps. And Saint Anthony stands at that altar with you, lifting your silent cry to heaven with reverence and love. Think of this moment like a sacred exhale, the kind that comes after trying too hard, too long. It's okay to feel tired. It's okay to have questions. Saint Anthony understands. He walked this earth, faced hardship, and never stopped trusting. His holy prayer for impossible requests is not based on ease, but on eternal trust. And trust is what we're building right now. I've spoken to people who were on the brink of divorce, of homelessness, of giving up on life itself. They didn't pray with perfect words. They just showed up, night after night, until peace replaced panic, until clarity replaced confusion. That's what happens when you commit to a night prayer like this one. It doesn't just change your night, it starts changing your life. And what if your surrender tonight opens a door for someone else? A child, a spouse, a friend. Don't underestimate the ripple effect of faith. This prayer to Saint Anthony for family restoration is not just about healing you, it's about healing generations. You're standing in the gap tonight, and Saint Anthony is standing with you. As your spirit settles deeper into this moment, let your thoughts be honest. Say what you need to say. There's no script, just truth. Lord, I'm scared. I'm tired. I don't know what to do. That's the kind of raw prayer that heaven rushes to answer. This is not weakness, it's worship. Pure, unfiltered surrender. And here's something you may not expect. Surrender brings rest. Not just physical rest, but spiritual peace. It quiets the mind that runs in circles. It lifts the heart that sinks under pressure. It's why this miracle prayer today isn't just another bedtime tradition. It's a lifeline, a hand reaching down when you've got nothing left to hold on to. You may feel like no one understands what you're going through, but Saint Anthony does, and even more, God does. He collects every tear, he hears every unspoken word, and through this urgent miracle prayer, your cry becomes part of heaven's response. You don't need to be strong right now, you just need to be still. In stillness, clarity begins to rise. Sometimes we expect a lightning bolt, but what we get is a whisper, a nudge, a peace that says, "You're not forgotten." That's the voice of the Holy Spirit speaking through your surrender. And it's why this prayer isn't just soothing, it's transforming. It teaches your heart how to trust again. So take this time to release your fears. Name them, then let them go. The fear of being alone, the fear of not having enough, the fear of failure. One by one, lift them up like stones you've carried too far. Let Saint Anthony carry them to heaven's throne. That's what intercession means. You don't carry this alone anymore. If your body feels weak, let your spirit lean in. Rest your faith on the faith of the saints. That's the beauty of Catholic prayer. It connects us with a family of faith that spans centuries. You are never praying alone. This prayer to Saint Anthony for urgent help echoes through eternity, and your voice is now part of that sacred sound. Some people wait their whole lives to feel what you're beginning to feel now. That divine assurance, that soft whisper, "I'm with you." Tonight, don't resist it. Embrace it. Let it fill you. Let it undo the knots inside your heart. This is the sacred work of surrender, and it's already begun. Take comfort in this. Surrender is not failure. It's faith in action. It's saying, "I don't need to figure this out tonight." It's trusting that God is working while you sleep, that Saint Anthony is still praying when your voice grows tired. This is a prayer that works instantly, not always in results, but in peace. And peace is the beginning of every miracle. So as your eyes begin to close, whisper this final truth to your heart. I am not alone. I am not abandoned. I am not hopeless. Saint Anthony is near. God is here. And what happens next could be the miracle you've waited for all along. The unshakable confidence that unlocks the miracle. Faith starts small, sometimes as small as a whisper. But when watered with surrender and trust, it grows into something unshakable. And now, after everything you've prayed, heard and felt, you're standing on holy ground. This moment, right here, is where confidence is born. Not in yourself, but in a God who cannot fail, and in a saint who never turns away. Saint Anthony of Padua stands with you now, bearing witness to your breakthrough. Maybe you've prayed before and nothing changed. Maybe you're afraid to hope again. That's okay. Confidence isn't pretending, it's believing anyway. Believing that this time is different. Because this isn't just a repetition of words, it's a declaration of faith. This miracle prayer today carries a divine momentum. You've prayed, you've surrendered. Now, believe. Let's be clear, you're not begging, you're aligning. Aligning your heart with the promises of God. You're standing boldly before heaven and saying, I believe you still do miracles. That boldness unlocks blessing, not because you're worthy, but because God is faithful. And Saint Anthony's intercession makes that access even more powerful. Think of how many lives have been changed through this same powerful Catholic miracle prayer. People who thought it was over, people who had no plan B, and yet their stories now shine with glory. You are next in line. Yes, you. You wouldn't still be here if heaven wasn't already moving on your behalf. Your miracle may already be on its way. Confidence doesn't shout, it rests. It doesn't force, it flows. The reason so many people feel renewed after praying with Saint Anthony isn't because of wishful thinking. It's because something truly happens in the unseen. He walks into situations no one else can fix. He speaks into the chaos with calm, and hearts are healed. Doors are opened, souls are restored. This is the confidence of those who pray the unfailing prayer to Saint Anthony. They know that delay is not denial, that silence is not absence, that what looks like the end is often the setup for a beginning. It's not just about the answer, it's about who you become while you wait. And tonight, you're becoming stronger, wiser, calmer. Let's talk finances, because God cares about that too. If you're in need, this prayer to Saint Anthony for financial breakthrough is your weapon. Speak it with boldness, expect with confidence, and don't be surprised when resources appear where you saw none. Saint Anthony doesn't just find lost coins. He opens wells in deserts, and yes, even bank accounts. Confidence is waking up and saying, I don't know how, but I know who. That's the power of faith. That's the heart of this impossible prayer that works. It shifts your eyes from lack to abundance, from fear to trust, from waiting to receiving. This is the kind of faith that moves mountains, and tonight, it's already moving yours. Do you know what confidence looks like? It's peace in the middle of the storm. It's praising before the answer comes. It's resting while others panic. And that's what you're stepping into now. A peace that goes beyond logic, that makes people say, how are you so calm? And your answer will be simple. I prayed, I trusted, I received. Your confidence isn't built on emotion, it's built on encounter. You've spent this sacred time in divine presence. You've let go of fear. You've received love. And now you walk forward knowing something changed, even if you can't explain it. That's how Saint Anthony prayer works. It plants a seed of assurance that nothing can steal. You'll sleep differently tonight, not because everything is solved, but because your soul has found rest. The prayer that works instantly may not always change the outside first, but it always changes the inside. And when your heart is at peace, miracles follow. That's the law of the Spirit. That's the promise of prayer. So go ahead. Thank God in advance. Thank Saint Anthony for showing up. Speak as though the answer has already come, because in the spiritual realm, it has. This confidence isn't fake, it's prophetic. It sees what's not yet visible and celebrates like it's already here. That's faith, and that's the kind that heaven rewards. If doubt creeps in later, don't fight it. Replace it. Replace it with memory. Remember this moment. Remember this feeling. Replay this prayer if you need to. Because every word is a brick in your foundation of trust. Saint Anthony is still praying. God is still working. And you are still covered. There's something powerful about believing when it makes no sense. It's the kind of belief that gets noticed in heaven. And tonight, you've joined a lineage of faith-filled warriors who didn't stop at fear. They pressed on into victory. You are part of that story now, and your miracle is part of what happens next. So sleep, dear soul, confident, covered, complete. This night will not end like the others, because this prayer wasn't like the others. This one reached heaven, and heaven is already responding. Final blessing. May the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, wrap around your heart like a warm blanket tonight. May every anxious thought melt away under the light of His love. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. Heaven has heard you. Saint Anthony of Padua, faithful servant of the Lord, has carried your requests to the very throne of grace. And in this moment of surrender, miracles are already being set in motion. Rest in the assurance that your cries were not in vain. Answers are coming. May your sleep be deep and your spirit renewed. Let divine dreams visit you tonight, revealing hope, clarity, and courage. Let your home be filled with angels standing guard. And may your morning bring with it a fresh outpouring of mercy. If you came with a broken heart, may healing now flow like a gentle river through your soul. If you came with financial burdens, may provision find you in the most unexpected ways. If you came carrying fear, may you rise with fearless joy. Let nothing steal the blessing that has been planted in you. Not tomorrow's worries, not yesterday's failures. You have been marked tonight by divine favor. This prayer didn't just reach your ears, it reached heaven's altar, and that changes everything. May every word spoken tonight echo through your days ahead. When doubts try to return, may this blessing silence them. When you feel weak, may the strength of Saint Anthony lift you again. You are walking now in supernatural peace. Bless your family, O Lord, with unity, healing, and protection. Let children be safe. Let parents be wise. Let every home touched by this prayer be filled with laughter, love, and unshakable faith. Let no evil come near your dwelling. For those who have lost something precious, be it time, love, purpose, or peace, may Saint Anthony help you find it again. Not just what was lost, but something even better in its place. For what the enemy meant for harm, God is turning for good. Let your finances be blessed. Let new doors open. Let old debts dissolve. May this emergency prayer for financial help become the beginning of testimonies to come. provision is coming from unexpected places. To all who have prayed with sincerity, may you experience results quickly. Let your eyes see what your heart already believes. Let your life become a living testimony of answered prayer. You were not forgotten. You were favored. And as you walk into tomorrow, may you do so with confidence. Not in your strength, but in God's unfailing power. Walk as someone who has been heard, someone who has been chosen, someone who now carries a blessing that cannot be revoked. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. May this prayer become your turning point. May this night be remembered as the beginning of your miracle. What if tonight was your breakthrough? What if this prayer unlocked something you can't yet see, but will soon live? Will you walk forward as if the miracle already happened, or will you let doubt steal what was given freely? We invite you to choose faith, to speak life, to step out in trust, even if your knees are shaking. You are not who you were before this prayer began, and you'll never be the same again. If this prayer touched your heart, we ask one simple thing: share it. Someone you love might be silently struggling tonight. Let them know they're not alone. Forward this to a friend, a family member, or post it where others can find hope. Click the like button to help this prayer reach more souls in need. Leave your prayer request or testimony in the comments. We read them all. Let this space become a well of faith and a community of intercession. Your voice matters, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel so you never miss a chance to pray with us again. Each video is crafted to meet you in your moment of need. Together, we'll walk by faith, one prayer at a time. You belong here. Write Amen in the comments if you received this prayer with all your heart. And don't forget to share it with someone who needs a miracle. Let this not be the end, but the beginning of a divine journey. You are not alone. God is with you, and Saint Anthony is interceding still.